Chapter 130. Beauty Institution. Human Trafficking. If anyone should ask whether beautiful women were, in all seriousness, created in this institution for the beautification of women, it should be noted that, firstly, the enemy of human life on earth certainly does everything imaginable for the favourable realisation of such undertakings of man, where he can direct the water to his mill. Secondly, however, experience teaches almost everyone how much a woman's appropriate clothing can achieve. What facial deceptions are not infrequently produced, and how often the outward feeling is deceived by a chosen headdress, by a silk dress after the latest fashion, and by several such satanic devices. But if even the current unnerved human race can be drawn by such means into Satan's trap, it is easy to imagine that the more nerve-strong and imaginative nations of those times could even be more easily trapped through such tactics. And since the ingenuity of the people never rests, it also did not rest here. From year to year, new women beautification inventions were made, and a girl needed nothing more than just to have straight limbs, which at that time was almost without exception the case, and she could be made pretty. For the beauticians said, "Every healthy female can be fattened and thereby made more rounded, and a perfectly fitting dress complementing the shape of the person makes her always look interesting. Add to that an expedient, adorable education, and every man is caught who comes close to such manufactured beauty." And so it was in reality. But soon any other woman had no value if she was not from the king's honour, and therefore was dishonoured and deeply offended. However, since very little or nothing was gained by such insult, the women who were not from the king's honour asked the beauticians if something could be done to them for a substantial reward. Since the beauticians did not scorn the profit, they also took in older women to their institute and fattened and plastered them to the point of disgrace. But all this harmed the cause not in the least. If only one could add some more flesh, then everything was fine again. For removing facial wrinkles was just an act of fun for our artists. Over time, the king's honour had to be increased tenfold. But from that one could see to what status this institution has grown. However, in the course of about 30 years, also the distant nations who became more powerful learned that in Hanoch the most beautiful women were produced, and they sent spies to investigate. The spies went to the king and sought to see the institution. They were taken there, but when they saw the beautiful women, they literally began to rave and wanted to have the women. But they were told that all the women who were already ripe could be bought for a certain price. the scouts rushed back to their country and told what they had seen. And soon 1,000 men loaded with treasures of all kinds travelled to Hanoch and bought 2,000 women. This was the beginning of human trafficking. But what happened next? The following will show us.